So next I wanted to talk about how you should package your documents. This will be your final result here. Basically, when you package everything, they want to make sure that there's no staples, there's no clips, there's no plastic sleeves, there's no binder involved. They want 2 separate stacks. So this is my actual copy stack that I had sent in. They didn't bother opening it. They just opened my originals. But you want 2 stacks, one for your original documents and one for your copies in case they want to keep a document. So you want them wrapped separately, and they asked, I don't want to say they asked, but I've read on multiple forums that they want you to wrap it in paper. So I've got this thick brown paper and twine wrapped around here to keep everything secured. And I've labeled on the outside what the stack was. So this was my copy stack, and just because I paid for priority, I wrote priority everywhere I could. I had it on my receipt, I had it on the outside of the package, and I had it on these stacks. So freestanding piles of paper, wrapped and tied separately. And then again, you're going to want to make sure that they're labeled so they know, but you also want to make sure that you provide your airway bill. So this was the actual return envelope that everything came back to me in. This is what I provided to them. So when I went to UPS and made my package, I bought this envelope, which has the bubble wrap inside. They put one of my airway bills in here for the return. I printed out a separate additional one in case they didn't approve of this, so that they still had an airway bill and that they didn't have to be inconvenienced by cutting this one out. So I had my 2 stacks of documents, my return envelope with the airway bill attached, plus a secondary airway return bill, all shoved into a small box. And that's how I prepared them. So you just stack everything in chronological order, have them separated by original and copies, separately wrap them, label your stacks, and you're good to go. Now, sending your documents. As I told you at the beginning, I did not pay for round-trip courier service. Anyway, I did not pay for the round-trip service. I wish I had in the beginning, but I didn't. I only paid for the return. So I had to pay additional money, which I felt like was more than what I would have paid for just paying the round trip, to send my documents there with 2-day international priority shipping. I got a small box, and it does say on the UKVI website that they do not want your package weighing more than 5 pounds. And my package was just over 4 pounds. So I was safe, but all this documentation can add up really fast, so just make sure it doesn't exceed the 5-pound mark. But I had a small box that fit my stacks and my return envelope really neatly. I went through UPS. I have read that if you submit your documentation through FedEx, that it will literally be denied at the UKVI, the home office. So make sure you don't submit through FedEx. I think there's like some sort of drama or something that had happened in the past where they just won't accept it anymore. So you can go through DHL as well. I'm sure there's other courier services, but DHL and UPS seems to be the most common for people that I read submitting their documents. I personally went through UPS. I was really happy with it. It was really easy to ship out. I received a tracking number and was able to get it out pretty quick. It did cost me an extra couple $100 due on top of the already near $200 that I spent on the return. But again, as I say, do the round trip. So what to expect after shipping? Waiting. Receiving email stating that they've received your documents is kind of rare. They're pretty generic, and when you do get them, it's not really going to give you the information that you were hoping for. So I saved the tracking number that I received from UPS when I sent my documents out, and I saw that it had made it to Sheffield and that someone who referred to themselves as Purdy signed them in. So I know they made it to Sheffield, but it still took an additional 3 business days before I even got a generic email saying that my online application had been received. And I'm thinking, online application? I sent that a week ago. my documents are there now or whatever. So tell me about my documents, but I didn't get that. So it's very rare to get the correspondence that you're hoping for when your documents are there at Sheffield and they're going through the visa application process. So just be aware of that. It's very rare if you get those, and when you do, you're very fortunate. Waiting. If they do contact you, it's more than likely because they are asking for more documentations. They need to confirm more information because you didn't provide enough. The next email I received was the email stating that they've made a decision. They don't tell you what the decision is, but they'll tell you that your documents are being returned to you and that will be there within a couple of days, and that you'll need to refer to your passport to find out your answer, which is like unbearable because you just want to know. That's where having your Airway bill, if you had a digital PDF form of it on your laptop or your computer or whatnot available to you, having the tracking number from that is really, really good. The decision email that I had also had that tracking number of mine in there too, so that was nice. And I was able to track it on the UPS website, and it was kind of nice to see like where it was at and how close it was to me, because it's really, really hard sitting and being patient, hoping that you'll get a approved visa back, but at the same time, like, are my documents going to make it back to you securely? So make sure that everything that you've brought in there is good. Watch your bank. People who have been refused a visa have also reported that they saw that the IHS payment has been refunded back to them. So that's also a good indicator of where your visa is at. If your money's not refused or refunded, then you know that your visa has not been refused. So, besides the tracking stuff, I did check my bank a couple of times a day to make sure that my account wasn't refunded back the $900 that I put in for my IHS fee. Don't book your flight until you receive your passport physically back to you. I do know that I neglected to mention that when you submit your documents that you want to put in there, that as part of your documentation, you have a flight itinerary so they can see, what your proposed travel date is. Don't make a legitimate purchase on it, though, until you've received your passport back. The passport could come back to you without a vignette in there, which means the flight that you've now made is not good, because you're not allowed to go there and stay there permanently. So don't book it until you have an actual answer. If your visa application is refused, sometimes you will have the right to appeal, but I will genuinely be honest with you, appealing process can be expensive, and it can also, not as expensive as reapplying, but it delays the time. The appeals are very slow. We've heard of people waiting up to 6 to 12 months to have their appeals done. Some people have had a quick turnaround. It really just depends on the situation. But, sometimes it's better to just reapply. Sometimes you get an answer much faster, and yes, it's the more expensive route, but it's the better option to go for.